What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now, the other day we did a video, just, a fun video speculating, a couple superstars the Detroit Lions might be looking at to give this team a much needed boost to help push us to a playoff spot or even a division title potentially. Historically, the Detroit Lions are more likely to sell than they are to buy. And what I mean by that is they're more likely to trade away players to acquire picks than they are to trade away picks to acquire players and superstars. In 2018, they gave away Golden Tate for a third-round pick. Last year in 2019, they gave away Quandre Diggs for a fifth, and even this past offseason they gave away Darius Slay for a third and a fifth. So historically, we are more likely to give out players and acquire picks to try to get some youth in this group and bring in young talent that Matt Patricia and the coaching staff can mold into the guys they want on the team, and hopefully build their roster that way. So that's what this video is going to be. Three players that are gonna be contributors, or at least compete for a spot on the team. If they make the team, they're still on the chopping block, still a very high chance of being traded away to another team to acquire assets, to acquire picks for this upcoming draft class that is very, very stacked. Now, with that being said, if you are new to the channel and are enjoying the content, consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It helps me out, it makes my day, and it takes 2 seconds out of yours to just make my day, and I would be very appreciative to everybody that chooses to do so. But with that being said, let's get into 3 players that could potentially be traded before the trade deadline this upcoming season. Now, the first player I want to talk about is Marvin Jones. Now, before I do get into it, I love all of these players. I do not want any of them to be traded. If they are traded, I will be, kind of upset because I love all of these players. I love everybody that plays for the Detroit Lions, and if they are traded, I will be upset, but I will wish them well on their next team and hope that they succeed elsewhere. So, just as a quick disclaimer. But the first player I want to talk about is Marvin Jones. Now, there has been a couple rumors, floating around Detroit that maybe Marvin Jones is at the trade block. Maybe we can get rid of him, have a guy like Quintez Cephas or Geronimo Allison or Marvin Hall step up to that number 2 role, have Amendola stay in the slot, and we just rock with we rock with Kenny Golladay as our number 1 wide receiver and our big threat. I don't think this is going to happen. I really don't think the Detroit Lions are going to trade Marvin Jones, unless they get a really, really good offer. Because Marvin Jones is a fantastic wide receiver still. I mean, he makes crazy contested catches. He's going to win 50-50 balls more than more than the defender's going to win. He's still a fantastic receiver. He's a little older, but he's still playing at a very high level. The only reasons I could think that the Detroit Lions might want to get rid of him: one, he's not under contract next season, which could be an incentive to get rid of him while he's still on the team. Obviously, we could still re-sign him, so he might be here, years from, he might be here for in a couple years still, but he is his contract currently only goes to the end of this season, and after this he's no longer under contract with the Detroit Lions. The last couple of seasons he has been a little injury prone. I'm not too concerned about it, but in 2018 he missed 7 games, and last year he did miss 3 games. So a little injury prone, but still very productive, very, very good wide receiver and a very good number 2. I don't think the Detroit Lions will give him away. I think that the rumor is not, I don't think it's a very true rumor. Obviously, unless the Detroit Lions get like a very good offer, a mid-round pick and maybe a player, or a mid-round pick and a late-round pick, unless they get a pretty good offer, I don't think they're just going to give away Marvin Jones, because I think he's a very important part to this offense, and I think our passing offense as a whole would take a huge step back next year if we lose Marvin Jones. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that we maybe get rid of Marvin Jones for a second or maybe a high third that we could use to get a wide receiver in a very stacked upcoming wide receiver class. Get younger at the position, maybe take a step back, but in a couple years, Kenny Golladay and hopefully this young wide receiver could grow together and be a very good 1-2 combo like Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay are right now. Now, moving on to the next player, I think Carryon Johnson is on the trade block personally. I mean, I know that he's a fantastic player. I love Carryon Johnson. I was hyped when we drafted him. I think he's going to be a great player this year. I think he's going to have a huge breakout season. But if he doesn't, I still think he could be traded. We drafted DeAndre Swift very highly in the 2nd round. We drafted Jason Huntley in the 5th round to be a, really, scat back, receiving option out of the backfield, outside zones, just kind of get him to the edge, give him a chance to break a tackle and take it 70 yards to the house. And I think that, we still have good guys like Bo Scarborough and Ty Johnson in here that are very capable backs and showed some very good things last year. So I think if, guys like DeAndre Swift, if Bo Scarborough, if Jason Huntley are playing very, very well, and Carryon kind of loses his role a little bit, I feel like we could be, looking to trade Carryon Johnson. Now, again, I think it'd have to be a very good pick. We spent a high second round pick on Carryon Johnson, so I think the Detroit Lions would want to recuperate that with at least a second round pick. I don't think they're going to be able to get a first round pick out of Carryon Johnson just because of his injury history. He has not played a full season before. He missed 6 games in his rookie season. He missed 8 games last year. He's had some injury concerns, but when he is on the field, he is, arguably a top 15 running back in the NFL. He's very talented. He makes guys miss. He has good power, good acceleration. Doesn't quite have the top end speed, but he is a very, very solid running back in the league. And, I think the Detroit Lions keep him. I think that him and DeAndre Swift are a good 1-2 punch. But if Bo Scarborough starts to emerge as a good running back, could run with power, has good speed, I think the Detroit Lions get a good offer for Carryon Johnson, and they believe that they can, do a similar thing with Bo Scarborough that Carryon Johnson is currently doing on the roster. They think Bo Scarborough or Ty Johnson could take over Carryon's role. I definitely see a reality where they think, we can ship on Carryon, get a second round pick, and, put that in somewhere else where maybe we're a little bit weaker, like the offensive line or, maybe the defensive line in this next draft. So I think they definitely could ship on Carryon, but just like Marvin Jones, I think he's an important part of this offense. I think he will be an important part of this offense, this upcoming season. And I think it would take quite a bit for them to get rid of Carryon, but I still think it is a possibility. The last player I want to talk about is a guy that, exploded onto the scenes his rookie season, has kind of regressed, the last couple years. And I think that it's actually very likely that he's not on the team by week 8, whether we cut him or, we trade him, because, before I get into it, this is Jamal Agnew. I think that this guy is he's so good at the kick or punt return. He has so much talent, so much, potential, so much talent. He just struggles with a few minor things that if he could fix up, he would be so good. In 2017, this guy was a first-team All-Pro at kick and punt returner. He had, I believe he returned 2 punts for a touchdown. He returned a kickoff for a touchdown last year. He's had really, really good punt returns. This guy's so electric. He brings so much to your special teams. His only problem is he has some fumbling issues. He tends to drop the ball sometimes on punt and kick. Mostly punt returns. Just when it's hanging up in the air, he tends to, take his eyes down and look where the other people are before he fully secures the ball. And sometimes that leads to fumbles and turnovers, which you don't want to see. However, he is transitioning to wide receiver, so if he can get his hands right, if he can learn to just look the ball in for that extra half a second before picking his eyes up, he's going to fix the fumbling problems. And when he has the ball in his hands, you got to watch out, because this guy is electric. He can take any punt or kick return to the house. And, I think that's a big asset to a team. If they feel like their special teams is lacking and they need that X factor on their, special teams that that any given punt return, they can take it to the house, they can get you 6 points, and your offense doesn't even need to touch the field. I think that adds value to an NFL team. I think that is valuable to an NFL roster. And I think the Detroit Lions can afford to get rid of Jamal Agnew because they drafted Jason Huntley. This guy not only is a running back, as I mentioned, for Carryon Johnson, but he is a punt and kick returner. This guy is just as good as Jamal Agnew. He's probably faster than Jamal Agnew. He's twitchier. He's more electric, and he doesn't have the fumbling problems that Jamal Agnew has. Now, granted, that was in college, not in the NFL. We haven't seen him catch punts or, kickoffs in the NFL yet, but if he gets the ball in his hands, I would argue that he's even better than Jamal Agnew. And we haven't seen any fumbling issues out of Jason Huntley yet. So I think the drafting of Jason Huntley was super underrated. I think he can help replace Carryon Johnson, and I think he can help replace Jamal Agnew. So that's one player that could potentially help replace 2 guys on the roster, freeing up 2 more spots to bring in contributors, bring in playmakers, guys that can help your team out in different ways that Jason Huntley cannot. So I think Jason Huntley is a good pickup. This isn't a video about Jason Huntley, but I think he can help replace 2 different guys on the roster that helps bring in people. And I think Jamal Agnew is the most likely on this list to get traded because he has the talent. He has the potential. He was an all-pro kick returner. He was an all-pro punt returner. And that can bring a lot, that can hold a lot of value to an NFL franchise and a front office. If they believe that the special teams is what's lacking and they can get a huge acquisition for probably not a lot. And if we can get anything for Jamal Agnew, I think it's a W. We drafted Jamal Agnew, I believe, in the 5th or 6th round a few years ago, and he's been productive. I think he's lived, I think he's surpassed that 5th round pick status, being an all-pro. But if we can get rid of him for even a 4th or, maybe maybe third round pick, that's probably a little high. But if we could get anything out of Jamal Agnew, that's still a W, because that's still, improving. And even if we get a fifth round pick, that's right where we drafted him. So it's basically like we're just getting that pick right back from, getting Jamal Agnew. So I think he's the most likely to get traded. As I said at the beginning, I don't want any of these players to get traded. I love everybody on the Detroit Lions roster. I root for every single player on this roster every Sunday, and I don't want to see any of them get traded from the team. I don't want to see any of them get cut or kicked off the team. But the harsh reality of the league is, even if you make the roster, sometimes you're going to get traded because the front office just believes that that is the best move for the organization. And, I'm going to stand behind the Detroit Lions. I'm going to be as positive as I can. I'm going to be as positive as I can for the players. I don't want to see any of them get cut, but unfortunately, that does happen. Some players get cut, some players get traded, and I think these are the most likely players to get traded if we are going to trade somebody away this coming season. If you disagree, if you don't think any of these players are getting traded before the trade deadline, let me know down in the comments. If I missed anybody that could be traded, has a high probability of maybe not being on the team next year, or, even past week 9 when the trade deadline ends, let me know that down in the comments below. I'd love to hear who you guys think the Detroit Lions might be, willing to trade, might be thinking about getting rid of right now. But with that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. If there is more Lions news before tomorrow, I'll obviously make a video letting every single person know. But until then, that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day, and I will see all of you in the video tomorrow. Thank you all so very much for watching this video. Bye, guys.